Welcome. We are tickled to death that you're with us for our friends. For D, I hope you're watching from Indiana. I understand I didn't get the story right. I'm not sure if you were a tornado going into the state or if you drove through tornadoes, but we are here and we're thinking about you. And a lot of our folks that come this last little COVID flood that's coming through has affected some of our folks. So we want to be kind of in prayer for them. But tonight we're gonna talk a little bit, and we're just gonna have a chat a little bit about the difference between making amends and making apologies. And I'm gonna ask you a few things as we go along. But before we get started and get deep into the subject, I'm gonna ask Chris to come up and with the group that's going to come. And as they are coming up, I'll continue talking, and then I'm going to turn it over to Chris and let him introduce everybody, because we've got folks from all over the world coming in here to play. We got bass fiddle up here tonight. I'm tickled to death. It won't be long. We'll be doing bluegrass here. So we're having a good time, and I hope you are too. We consider ourselves your bridge to recovery, and so we welcome you. We're glad you came. We always welcome you to come just as you are. You don't have to dress up, and you may even act up when you come, but that's okay. We're going to love you anyway. And I'm expecting that from some of the folks that are here. It's acting up. Would you hush? But we're going to have a good time, and we'll continue as we go along tonight. But first, Chris Franks has come with us, and he's here at least, I say at least because it's becoming more and more. He's one of us. He's one of the family. But he and Daryl come a lot, and they're here always on the third Monday of the month. But I think he's been here the third and the last, and he's been here about every week. So we're so glad he's come. So Chris, I want you to come and do your introductions here for Hannah and Brandon and Mike, and then we'll go from there. Y'all sing a song for us.
Thank you guys again. Of course, I get to stand in for the knucklehead, which, when your brother needs a hand, you always lend it out. That's what we're here for. That's what we do is celebrate recovery. If one person's down, you lift out your hand, because if you're not lifting it out, you may need that hand in one day. So just always remember, if someone asks something of you, you can do it, do it. But of course, let me introduce everyone. We have Mike Harrell, we have Brandon and Hannah Humphrey, and of course, there's me. But she has some wonderful songs. She's a blessed lady here, and you're going to enjoy her this evening. So just stand up and praise along with us. We'll fix that.
What's that song
Thank
called?
y'all. Thank y'all.
I'd rather have Jesus.
Oh, yeah,
I'd rather have Jesus.
I just want to make sure.
I'm gonna tell you, it kind of feels like, I know my brother Leonard is watching. He's a little under the weather, but Leonard, we're thinking about you. We hope you get better soon and you get out of the house so Deborah won't make you continue to run up and down the steps and take care of her. We're going to have a good time tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about some differences in making amends. Let me ask you some questions as we start off, if that will be okay with you. And if it's not, I'm going to ask you some questions anyway. So here's a question. Have you ever said, I'm sorry? Have you ever known that you need to say you're sorry and I'm just not going to do it?
Yeah.
Have you ever knew you needed to say you're sorry, waited for a long, I said one question, I'm asking several. So have you ever known you needed to say you were sorry, and then after you said you were sorry, you were so glad that you did and wish it hadn't taken you as long? It caused the ship to come back upright, so to speak. It caused that relationship to mend. It got you to a point that where you had some brokenness, suddenly it started being fixed a little bit. I've been there many times. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit and get a little deeper into what it means to be making amends. But this is part of Principle 6. We work on principles, a series of 8 principles and 12 steps. And we kind of follow along the line of a Celebrate Recovery. We call ourselves Renew Recovery because we bring a lot of other things to the table. Because I having been a teacher in my life, I know that it's not a copyrighted program. And believe it or not, I don't do well staying inside the lines. So I kind of get on the corner and I got some amens back here, but that's okay. We are going to try to work with each other and help each other and support each other. And so this is Principle 6, and Principle 6 tells us that we should evaluate our relationships, all of our relationships. And I think we find that hard to do sometimes. Know when it is time to stop with a relationship and move away from a relationship. And we don't move away sometimes because it's been comfortable. It's really comfortable, even though we don't like it and we're not good for each other. It's what we know. But this principle is telling us to evaluate all of our relationships, to offer forgiveness to those who have hurt us and make amends for harm we've done to others, except when to do so would harm them or others. So, making amends is more than, if we go by that, making amends is more than just saying, I'm sorry. There's a lot to it. It's not just about somebody that has hurt us. And we talk about that a lot. I speak about that probably as much or more than anything here, because here, and I say here, I mean in recovery, wherever you're at, we tend to focus on the addictive behavior. We tend to focus on the alcohol abuse, the drug abuse, the sex abuse, the gambling, whatever it is, that's what we focus on. However, that is a symptom of maybe a cause of something, a hurt, a trauma that's happened way back in our life that we have used whatever that addictive behavior is to mask and to hide and to escape from whatever that hurt or trauma was. So there are people that we have hurt. Most of the time, because we're so selfish, we're self-controlling, we don't worry about the part that we have hurt somebody. We only think about, well, they hurt me. They did that to me. They shouldn't have done that to me. We don't stop sometimes and back away from the situation long enough to say, what my actions did to them? How did what I did hurt them? How did it harm them? So we're going to talk a little bit about from both sides. Now, for most of us, when we hear the directive, which is in this recovery model, no matter where you go, when you get to a certain point, they start talking to you about making amends. And so that kind of feels like, okay, I got to do that. That means they're telling me I've got to do this. So when we get to that part, that directive to make amends, we immediately start thinking that we need to be telling somebody, what?
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I ask you at the outset, has anybody here ever said, I'm sorry? How many of you have said about the same situation, I'm sorry, more than once? Okay. How many of you have said, I'm sorry, about the same situation, you kept doing it for about the 1,000th time? So what I want to suggest to us tonight here is that we spend less time saying I'm sorry with words and spend more time showing them that we're sorry with our actions. Because I think that, why don't you finish this? Let me go on a little bit more and I'll ask you that in a minute. So, it really only takes 3 words and only 2 if you put it together. I'm sorry. It just rolls. I mean, it's so easy because it just rolls off your lips. I'm sorry. For most of us, it's pretty easy. For some of us, it would take a bulldozer to pull those words out of our mouth, and that's really hard. But there's room for both, for the one that's really hard for and the one that rolls off their lips. There is a few differences between making amends and having an apology. To put it simply, an apology is like putting a Band-Aid on a wound. You know it's still there. It'll ooze a little bit. It covers the source of pain, a Band-Aid does, until eventually it disappears. When we make a sincere apology to someone that we've hurt, it makes us both feel a little better, as I talked to you about that. When you told somebody you're sorry and you knew you had really hurt them or you had done wrong, it makes them feel better, but it makes us feel better inside as well. So it's going to make us feel a little bit better in the short term, but just saying the words, I'm sorry, does it do anything to correct the situation in the long term or change anything? Just simply the words. When we make reckless decisions, which I'm probably the only one here that's ever done that, made a reckless decision due to our addictive behaviors, we can't simply erase that pain and that heartache and that headache that has been caused by a simple apology. It just doesn't happen. So, how do we make amends? We talk about this all the time, but how do we go about doing it? Remember now that to make amends is definitely about saying I'm sorry, but it's also about your actions before and after the words. So why then is making amends so important? I want you to finish this saying. Actions.
Louder than words.
What?
Speak
Louder than words.
Actions speak louder than words. Do you believe that? Well, I sure do. And I've seen that in my life, and I've tried to practice that in my life. Because people, if you've been wronged ever in your life by somebody, anybody here that's happened to? Anybody out there? Yes, I see those hands. Absolutely, we've all been wronged. And we've all, somebody come and said just flippantly, I'm sorry. And then they do it again, and they do it again, and they do it again. And we just, at some point, go, you show them the hand, go, I don't hear it. Show me. Don't tell me, show me. And that's when it starts happening. That's when it starts. People want to see our actions. They really do. They get tired of constantly just hearing the words because words are cheap. Making amends is a part of our personal growth. It's how we get better. It's how we're going to change. But it's also really, really important. I can't stress that enough. It's really important for the person's growth that we hurt. It's a large part of our recovery, and it's a large part of their recovery. We are not the only, so many times we think that we're the only person in the world that has a problem or that's going through this thing called recovery. I'm constantly amazed that we think the world revolves around us. The world does not revolve around you. It revolves around me. Did you see what I did? I just made it about me. And you can't. It doesn't revolve around any of us, okay? It's important part of your recovery. And amends is a huge part in whatever program you're in. If you're in AA, if you're in Celebrate Recovery, if you're in Renewed Recovery, it doesn't matter. So how do we, any kind of 12-step program, amends is going to be a part of it. So how do you make amends? Well, first thing you got to do is you got to be sincere. You got to really mean it. This is what happens to those people who are constantly saying, I'm sorry. And it's just words. After about the 10th time, I'm starting to think they're not really serious. You know, so you got to be really sincere. Amends is important, but hear me now. Don't be starting making amends. Don't even start the process until you're really serious about doing it, because it's going to take you some time. There's a couple of brothers in here that are at that part in their journey of making amends. And I'll guarantee you, if I had called them up here, which I'm not going to, but if I called them up here and said, how easy is that amends thing, buddy? It's not easy. And it's not quick. And it's a process that is kind of continual, because as we make amends, we start peeling the layers off the onion and we start finding other things that we need to deal with in our life. So you got to be really, really sincere about it. You got to acknowledge your wrongdoing. You got to lay it out there. See, we want to beat around the bush a lot of times about what we did. We don't want to really say what we did. Be really honest and speak truth. Because when we speak truth about us, it hurts. And we really don't want to do that. So when we first started, we kind of slide that mask back on. It's all happy face, and we make like it's not that big a deal. Well, it is a huge deal. It's a huge deal to the person that we've hurt. So we've got to acknowledge our wrongdoing. We got to be specific. Don't talk generalities, talk specific. If you know you did a certain thing, be specific about what you did. That's extremely important with the person. Listen to their side. See, that's the thing we don't do. We want to go in, say what we got to say. I'm sorry. This is why I'm sorry. This is what I did. Okay, thank you. Bye. And think, okay, it's good. We have one. How many of these? One. How many of these? That would say that we probably ought to be doing this twice as much at least. So we should be listening and listen to their side. You know, sometimes it's not as bad as we thought it was. If we would listen, we think things are much worse. I'm waiting right now tonight to get my scores back, because y'all know I've been in CNA school. Well, that was a lot of fun. I could do a whole program on that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in recovery now with that, at least counseling. But I'm waiting right now to hear back on whether I am now a CNA. And I'm tickled to death, but, you know, somebody said, are you worried? I'm like, no, well, I shouldn't be at this point. Either I am or I'm not. I'm going to have to go on and work or be taking a test again. But it's okay. What I did in one thing, and that's all I'm going to talk about the CNA thing. One of the things that I found was, and we've got a brother here that's doing the same kind of thing, and he can verify this and validate it. One of the things that's really special when you're working with residents of a facility is they don't have many people come see them.
Yeah.
They have families, but the family has just kind of put them there. And the people that meant the most to me during those days that I had clinicals were those people that I took the time to spend time with and get to know, to watch their face light up just by having somebody to talk to and that would listen to them. So this is really important no matter in what area. I'm not just talking about being a CNA. I'm talking about as we make amends, going and talking to that individual that there's been some wrong, whether they have wronged you or you have wronged them. It's important to listen and to validate when they say, this is how you made me feel. Well, I don't remember doing that. Validate, I hear what you're saying. Let's stop that. Let's stop using that word. I understand how you feel, because you never will. Okay? You'll never understand. I learned that in FEMA when I was doing disaster work, and people side by side, both their houses got blown away. And you can't any longer say, I know how you feel. Because you don't know their situation. So I can relate to what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. So maybe we just need to validate their feelings of hurt. Ask. If you don't understand if something that they say, ask. Get clarification. What I heard you say was such and so. Did I hear you correctly in that you said? Then we go back to the validation again. And remember the whole purpose, because what happens is we get lost in what we're doing. We get caught up in the inertia of doing it. And we get worried about getting through the process. For those who are in the process, yes, when's this end? When do I get to say, I'm recovered? Well, I don't know if that ever happens, because it keeps opening things up. But it's truly important to remember why we're doing what we're doing. So there are some types of amends. As we look at amends, you go, well, is there not just one kind of amend? No, there's actually several, And the first one is indirect amends. Indirect amends are ways to repair damage that cannot be physically undone. Like if you've committed a crime in the past, or are in a situation where you can't confront those people whom you have offended. They're no longer around. They may have moved. They may have died. If we physically assaulted someone or committed a theft, a way to make amends in that indirectly is that we might volunteer at a shelter that deals with just that very thing. We may be able to do something else to help us to live through that, to help us see a different way. I'm blessed that I have my mom and dad in their 80s still living, and my mother-in-law who is 88 and is living with us, and she has Alzheimer's. I said I wasn't going to talk about CNA, but it's amazing how God puts you in situations where you learn lessons. And through these clinicals and through this class, I have learned some things as I've gone along of how not to. You ever been in a situation where you've learned how not to treat someone? And I did some of that too in clinicals, where I saw people being treated very badly. And it was like, note to self. You ever done that? Now, self, when you get into this situation, don't do that. And I learned that as well through this. So it's really, really important that we think in terms of indirect. Direct amends. Direct amends is the one we probably think of more than any. And that's where we take personal responsibility in confronting the person with who's wronged us or that we have wronged. They're there. We know who they are. We still know they're around. We may see them often, and we can go to them, and there is nothing better. Now, it's really easy because most of us would want to write a real quick note. Or in today's society, we don't do snail mail. We don't do write a note. We don't write a letter. What do? Let's text them. Let's email them. and hit send, and it's over. It's good, right? Let me tell you something. When you're making amends, if we're doing direct amends, there is nothing better than being eye to eye, knee to knee, face to face with somebody. If you really want to make amends and you know you've wronged somebody, go to that person. Now, sometimes that's really hard because they've told me if I come back around here, they're going to separate my head from my shoulders. And for some of us, they probably got every right to think like that. So we may need to write them a letter first and ask them for their permission to be able to talk to them. Would it be okay? I know I wronged you. Would it be okay for us to meet so that we better understand, you understand my side and I'm able to understand your side? Set the tone. Then you can gauge whether it's time to go or not. Sometimes they will communicate back with you, no. What I have found in my 67 years of life is that no doesn't always mean no. Sometimes no means not now, not yet. And so maybe it's not in our timing because we want it just like in our recovery. We want it to be instant presto fixed. And life just doesn't work that way. We hear a lot about God's timing. We talk about that. And I still can't understand why he doesn't do things on my time. I'm only kidding. His timing is perfect. I always screw it up when we want to do it my way. Has that been your experience? When you're in control and you're wanting to do it your way and your timing, it never seems to work out as good. But indirect amends, that's what we think of most of the time, is us being able to go to that individual. There's ways to do that. Another one is financial amends. Financial amends is, face it. If we've been in recovery for a long time and we've had any kind of addictive behavior, there is a really good chance that we have messed this up. We've taken somebody's money, we've stolen, we've abused a situation, we've lied that cost someone some money financially. Or we have, not here, we've not wrecked somebody else's vehicle, plural, many times, but that's financial. Now, sometimes financial amends take more than a minute because for some of us, we are deep in debt. And sometimes we say, well, I'm better now, and that's past, and I don't have to deal with that anymore. I just put that aside. And that doesn't work well either. Because you are carrying, if you think like that, you're forever and always going to have that on your back. Like you're carrying a building, a weight on your back. And once you ever, it may take a long, long time to make it better and to pay it back. But once you make that last payment on that, you're going to be amazed. They're probably going to have to get something to hold you down because you're going to be floating because it feels so good that you've gotten past that. Financial amends, don't say, I don't have to worry about that anymore. That's past, and let's just start fresh and anew. There's some things that you need to take care of. That's your responsibility. And living amends. This is kind of what I talked about, and it goes back to that. I'm sorry. Living amends is living it out. It's not talking it. It's not preaching it. It's not putting up a poster. It is letting that individual see you and how you act and how you walk no matter who's watching. When nobody's around to see, they see what you're doing. They see you have changed. They see you getting involved. They see that your life has changed because before you were selfish and self-centered, but now you're wiping tables for the recovery program. Amen. And people see your walk, and that speaks so much louder than any testimony and words that you can ever give. That's important. And that's what people need to see. And they need to see that consistently, not just when you go to the family reunion, but also all the time, even when those are over on the corner going, hey, you know the way they really are. You know, that's just an act. Because there's going to be some of that too. And you just got to go, it's okay. I understand. I probably deserve that. And just go on doing what's right and what's good. Those are really important things. So there's some steps. There's some steps, you know, we always got to know, well, okay, tell me 1, 2, 3, ABC. How do I do it? There's some steps to it. Number 1, admit the hurt and the harm, both sides. What you've done to somebody, what they've done to you. And we're going to talk about that. And that's a step. That's step 1. Make a list. Remember every list that we make. We talked about that when we did our personal inventory, our spiritual inventory. There's a list. And every list is a balance. Not everything you've done has been bad. You have good. You are good. You are worthy. Let me hear you. I am good. I am good. I want to hear it.
I am good.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
Yes, you are. There's good things that you have done, and you need to celebrate that and magnify that and expound on that part. We get hung up in the guilt, the shame, all of that part of it. Man, I can't do anything because I don't deserve anything better than what I'm doing right now because of all I did in the past. That part laid down. See, the beautiful thing about it is God lets you lay that down. He wipes that slate clean. I love to think about when I was a teacher in school, you got the whiteboard, the dry erase board, and you get to wipe it clean. It's like there was hot dogs and chips all over that table, but we got somebody cleaning it up. It's clean as a pin back there. And we start fresh on that part. It's really important that we do that. So make your list. Encourage one another. That's what Renew is all about. That's what small group, I love about small group. We got some folks in small group that they care. They don't just care on Monday night. Those of you who are out there watching online, you are missing it. Whatever it is, you are missing it. Because when we come together in small group, whether we're on Monday night, because we got some guys I know that are not here tonight, but I'll guarantee you, before I can get down the road to the house and get in the house, these other guys will already beat me, texting one another, making sure everybody's okay. Just checking in with you, see if you're okay. And that's what you got to do. You got to encourage it, because I don't know about you in your life, but for me in my life, sometimes I'm kind of down. Things don't always, I'm not the bubbly guy you see before you all the time. Sometimes I'm not pleasant to be around. And guess what? Neither are you. And when I see you that way, I'm going to try to lift you up. When I see you, and that's the beautiful thing about recovery and a family of recovery. When you get really close to somebody, you tell me if this is not true. And you see them, you've been around them a lot, and you look at, you can just look at them and you know something's not right. You don't even have to ask, are you okay? You already know they're not okay. And sometimes you don't have to say anything. All you need to do is put an arm up there, a hand up there on the shoulder. Just look at them and go. We need that. We need more encouragement. So be encouraging with one another. Understand that when you're doing amends, we're talking about going to people, tell them you're sorry, but guess what? It's not just for them. It is for them, but it's not for them. It's for you. It's to wipe your slate clean. It's to, as in recovery, they say, as long as you take care of your side of the street, as long as you clean up your side of the walk, you'll be all right. So take care of you. It's for you. You are the most important thing in the world right now in your recovery. This is the most important thing you can do. We talked about timing. Do it at the right time. As soon as you hurt somebody and say those things that are just gosh awful, or you've done something to hurt them deeply, that may not be just the exact time to go, oh, can we sit and talk about that? You may need to give it just a minute for some of the hurt to dissipate just a little bit. Then, in the right timing, then you'll know. Start living your recovery and the promises of it. The promises of having a better life. I don't think anybody here really wants to wake up every day in the throes of your addiction, continuing to do the same thing that you've been doing, because as I look at this room and those of you who are out there, we're all at a different place in our journey. There's some of you out there and here that are just starting. Some of you in here and there have not started yet, but you're thinking about it. Some of you here and there are kind of thinking about it, but it's really more somebody else kind of pushing you to do it. You got to do it yourself, for yourself, or it'll never work. It's got to be you that wants to do this. That's really important that you think about that. But I can promise you this, that if you quit trying to control everything and you turn your life that's totally unmanageable over to a power that's higher than you, I call him God, Jesus Christ. And you turn it over to him. He has so much more power than me and so much power than you. And he can help us through this thing, because it's recovery is a journey that's filled with holes and traps, and you have to be careful as you go. There's a lot of things that will trip you up. So that's important. So let's look at it a little bit different. Let's look at it a different way. I've told you that, but I'm going to quickly finish up and say, hey, let's look at it a different way. So step one, evaluate how bad what you did was. Evaluate the extent of your wrongdoings. They may be far-reaching. They may not be as bad as you think, but you need to evaluate that. Step two, give the people, and I said, don't do words, but I think it needs to be both. Whether it's verbal, sometimes it needs to be written first, then ask for permission to meet them, but give them more than 2 words. I'm sorry. Give them a carefully worded apology, taking ownership of what you did, spelling it out, and then asking some questions. Can I meet with you? Asking, is there anything? Any of y'all ever played tennis? Hit the ball. Well, I ain't say how good you play. I haven't seen any on TV at the Open, so I'm figuring you play about like me. But it's really important to hit the ball over on their side of the court. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you say to them, is there anything, and mean it. Don't say it unless you mean it. Is there anything I can do to make this better? What can I do? You've hit the ball in their court. Then be patient, because it may take them a minute to think about it or to answer you back. Step 3, suggest ways. If they come back to you, or if they don't, then later you can suggest ways to try to make the relationship better. I guarantee you've already been thinking about it. If you know you've wronged somebody, you've already started thinking about, well, what could I do? Could I buy them flowers? Well, that don't work very much. They want to see actions. Do something real. Do something that is, I'm not talking about costly from the standpoint of going and buying them a big dinner. I'm talking about it's going to take, the most precious thing you have is time. So do something that's going to take some time that you're going to have to plan and carry out. Step 4, quit making the same mistake over and over. Learn from our mistakes. How many of you ever had hard lessons? How many of you have had lots of hard lessons? How many of y'all still having hard lessons because you ain't learned from the first few thousand hard lessons? Many of us just keep making the same mistake over and over. We need to stop that. Get off that train. Get off the merry-go-round. Stop making the same mistakes over and over. Learn from our mistakes. Now, as in right now, is the time and the opportunity for you to continue your journey of recovery. When it comes to amends and it comes to recovery in general, now is the time, now is the opportunity that you have before you to continue. But how am I going to do that? Well, our amends may need to begin with God. Our amends may need to begin with God. It may not need to begin with the things that I've said on that paper. It may not need to start with, I've got this thing figured out. I already got the recovery thing figured out. If you said that ever, bless your heart. Because as soon as you think you've got it figured out, that's about the time you're fixing to trip. You're about to go into one of the deepest relapses you've ever been in. So what I would suggest you do before you ever start, or as you continue making amends, is lift it up to God and let Him guide you as to what step needs to be next. So let's worship again and sing. And we're not going to sing that. We're going to sing another song. But Chris and the crew, y'all come up and lead us in this song.
Well, I will say this. Our brother gave a good word this evening. If I had anything that I would say that when you take away from this, make sure to pay attention. When you say, I'm sorry, don't let them just be words that ramble on. Sometimes we use those as a second word just to cover up something you did. Oh, I'm sorry I did that. Oh, I'm sorry this. Whatever you say, when you say those words, when I say, I'm sorry, mean them from your heart. You know, there's a verse that I would give you that I would say for any moment that you have, go to James 1, 19 and 20. Brethren, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. For the wrath of man is not the righteousness of the Lord. If you take and dwell that in your heart, when you have those moments when you're saying I'm sorry, and they start in here, like brother said, you're saying I'm sorry to God first before you ever let those words come out of your mouth to man. Humble yourself unto the Lord and everything else will follow.
Yes.
Crossing the calm sea with Jesus, the disciples were getting
Thank you, everyone. I'm going to lead us in prayer. Lord, we thank you again, God. Thank you for being the masters of our ship, Lord. In the times of trials and tribulations, God, as we sit in this boat, Lord, no matter which way it turns and it rocks, Lord, you're asleep at the stern. God, all we have to do is know that we can call upon your name. And when we say that name, Jesus, Lord, you'll awaken that you'll take control. Just by your hands and your voice, you'll calm the seas, you'll stop the winds. But knowing the most important thing is, no matter what trials that we're in, is knowing that you are there with us through them all. God, as you move and you stir in our hearts, Lord, continue to grow us, help us renew our lives, our walk, and be with us, God. Thank you again for your grace and your love and the salvation that you've given through us, your Son. We ask this in your glorious name, Father. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, team, for what an angelic voice. Thank you all for coming. And can you promise that you'll come back? You know, that was wonderful. And that song and my prayer, that prayer that Chris lifted, how true is that? That in the words of the song, he knows our voice. When we call to him, he knows exactly we are. And just as those disciples were in that boat, fearful, because everything was going to pieces. Is that not true of our life right now? Sometimes our life is just going to pieces. And what did they do? They called out. And he heard it. And what did he do? He quieted the storm. And he will do that for us as well. I want to thank y'all for being here. For those of you online, you missed out on a good time. You know, you missed out on this beautiful music being right here with it. And they've said that you'll be back. And I hope you know that, and we appreciate that. But I want to thank you for coming. Keep coming back. Bring somebody with you. And if you heard something tonight that was meaningful to you, it was probably meaningful to somebody else. And so it will touch somebody else's life. And that's really important that we remember that and know that and understand that. That it's up to us to share our story, to share the story of others, to share things that we heard. I got a couple of my brothers that will say, hey, they'll send me a text and say, hey, just read this. I just heard this song. See, but one of them always sends me stuff that makes me cry, and I hate that, but I appreciate it anyway. But like our page, Renew Recovery Community, and share it so others can be a part of this. Hope to see you back next week because we'll be here. We'll have something to eat. We'll have some fellowship. We'll have a good time. So until then, I love you, but God loves you so much more. Good night.